What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a bit of an opinion piece, I suppose, really. And that opinion is, you're allowed to play games just however you want, actually. So just to give this conversation some context right off the bat, this has been on my mind for a couple reasons, really. For starters, I like to review games after 100%. I've made video upon video about what that means, my process, etc., etc. If you're curious, and this is the first video of mine you're watching or something, go to my channel, search 100%, it'll come up, you'll get the full context. And that is something I actually did for Elden Ring, which was quite the endeavor on my part because Elden Ring is a little outside of my wheelhouse normally. And despite that, the overall reception to the Elden Ring content that I have put out has been overwhelmingly positive, which is why I've made as many videos on it as I have when I really wasn't planning to do much more besides a review initially. And that is very likely why I'll continue to make a few more videos for it. But with Elden Ring in particular, I've noticed a bit of an amplification of something that I've heard fairly regularly, I would say. However, it's just much more pronounced with this title. And that is people essentially telling me that my approach to Elden Ring is all wrong, and I'm experiencing the game in some inauthentic way. Now, outside of Elden Ring, this is a criticism I'll receive every once in a while, in that my reviews after 100% aren't necessarily me playing through the game the way a normal player would, which is something I generally agree with, by the way. I think that's a very valid criticism of what I do. But with Elden Ring in particular, I've noticed that it's not just that I'm playing the game in some way most people won't, but rather that I'm playing the game wrong somehow. Which honestly, on its face, kind of a weird thing to say to the guy who 100%ed it. But that's not the only reason this has been on my mind. The other reason was that I saw a speedrun actually for Elden Ring, or at least a news article about it, I should say. And I was reading through it in the comments, and in the comments section of that article, I noticed a bunch of people basically responding to this article that they don't know why somebody would play through the game that fast. I think it was like 2.5 hours, when they could actually enjoy the game instead, which for starters kind of completely misses the point of a speedrun. But those two things combined, very, very small minority of people trying to tell me that I've been playing a game wrong somehow, and the people commenting on the speedrun telling them that that person should have slowed down to enjoy the game, has me in the frame of mind thinking about the fact that, as the title should roughly say, you're allowed to just play games however you want. As long as your experience isn't hurting someone else's experience in like an MMO or something, then you've paid for a product and you're allowed to enjoy it how you please. And as someone who on this very channel has very much so encouraged people to play on the story mode if they want, or any other way that suits their needs for any particular game, I can pretty safely say that I'm just very pro get your money's worth out of a game. And I play games the way that I do because that's what makes me get the most enjoyment out of them. I don't feel like I've really gotten my money's worth out of a game until I've 100%ed it using the process that I've kind of cultivated over the years. For me, that process is the enjoyment of playing a game. And while I certainly don't relate to speedrunners, I do think it is nonetheless a pretty cool thing that they're able to do, and I imagine on some level that attaining those speedruns is likely their enjoyment of the game. So as someone who feels that way about games and actively tries to promote that to other people, even if the way they want to play the game is wildly different from what I want to do with it, it just strikes me as odd that people will make these rather audacious statements that people are only allowed to enjoy a game one way, or that they might be playing it wrong in some way. So with that said, my opinion has always been that as long as you are enjoying the game, regardless of what you're doing or how you're doing it, then you are playing it correctly, because at the end of the day, the person playing the game has presumably paid for it in most instances, outside of piracy or free-to-play. Then you should absolutely be getting the most out of the money you paid to enjoy this game the way you wanted to play it. So the opinion here, really, is that don't listen to people telling you that you're playing a game incorrectly, even if it is a title that has a very established fan base who likes to do things a certain way, etc. If you paid for a game, you are enjoying your experience, then you are playing it correctly. If you want to spend 10 hours in Elden Ring farming runes to go one-shot a boss, completely removing the challenge and the difficulty from the game, but you enjoyed it, then congratulations, you played the game correctly. But there you go, guys, just kind of something off the wall that was on my mind, and I figured, why not make a video about it? Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, let me know down below all the crazy and odd ways you've played video games that you've enjoyed. I'd love to hear about it. But regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.